Do you want to know one of the top ways that you can naturally find relief from your hip arthritis pain without having to go through surgery or other procedures? And almost everyone misses this. It's not getting stronger, although that is a very close second. It's actually balance. Balance can be huge when it comes to finding hip arthritis pain relief. So if your hips are bothering you and you feel like your balance is off, they are connected. So here's a quick reason why. Because when you have pain, your muscles get thrown off a little bit. Maybe they are a little bit delayed or they're a little bit weaker, so they can't support the joint. Well, when you're asking them to balance, say standing on one foot while you're walking or doing different things, trying to put all your weight on that leg, it may be painful because those muscles aren't working together to support that joint. When we start to train our balance, we start to train these muscles to work as a team again. And that can help to provide support to that hip joint. Because if you try to stand on one leg, you should be able to feel all those muscles start to work. But especially when you have pain, it can throw those muscles off. So we are going to train balance today. I am going to show you a 10-minute follow along video with me of some of my best balance exercises, especially if you have hip arthritis. So you need two things. One, you need some space, and two, you need a ball. So I'm gonna actually use this yoga ball, but you can use a small pillow, you can use a sports ball, as long as it's a little bit softer, whatever you can find in your home that you can use. We are going to improve our balance with it. And I get a question a lot about if you should be wearing shoes or if you can go barefoot when it comes to practicing balance. And the answer is both. So I like to have people do both, using shoes that have usually that big supportive sole on the bottom. But I also like to challenge people to do it barefoot or with socks, just because you can feel that floor a little bit better and you can get some better input. But if you're on a slippery floor, so I'm gonna be using a wood floor today, I like to use socks that have grips on the bottom. This is just for safety, just to make sure that we're not slipping all over. So if you're on tile, just anything slippery, I would highly recommend these shoes with these socks with the grips. Both of these links are down below if you need them. You can find these anywhere. I think these are actually from TJ Maxx. And then this I just got online for a few dollars. So if you want either of these, the links are down below. So we are going to go ahead and get started on this balance video. Okay, so I want you to join me by just hanging onto the ball or whatever object you have, and I want you to put your feet together. If at any point you feel off balance, please have something next to you, whether it's a wall, whether it's a stable railing or a kitchen counter, whatever it is, but please have something there. The goal of this is to actually challenge your balance. So you're gonna hang onto the ball, your feet are gonna be as close together as you can get them. Now, what you're going to do is you're just going to press out and then press up. So we're just gonna start a little bit easier and then we're going to work our way up. So the idea of why I'm even using the ball to begin with is because now you're focusing on the ball and your balance. So this is something called dual tasking. You're kind of focusing on two things at once. Which, when we are trying to balance, you're usually trying to either reach for something or grab something or move towards something. And now what you're gonna do is you're gonna stay in that exact same position. You're gonna take the ball to one side of you and we're gonna go on a diagonal. So you're making a diagonal line. Now you may feel this in your shoulders a little bit after a while, but I want you to go up as far as you feel safe and comfortable with those shoulders. We're going outside of that base of support. So we're really working on moving outside while keeping our balance. And I want you to switch to the other side. Same thing, you're gonna switch directions and up and down. Just starting to get those blood flowing through those legs. Start to wake those ankles and things up before we start to add in a challenge. Okay, so for this next one, we're gonna add a little bit of leg movement too. So this is gonna test some coordination. So I want you to first stand on the leg that's not as painful. So for me, I'm gonna stand on my right leg if my left leg is the one that's the painful one. So what I want you to do is you're gonna press and step. Now notice I'm just tapping with that outside leg. So I'm not necessarily stepping and shifting my entire weight. I want you to keep as much weight on that right leg as you can, or that leg that's not as painful. And then if it hurts to go out to the side with that leg that is painful, just go as far out as you can. But I do want you to try to take as big of a step as you comfortably can. 3, 2, and 1. Now you're gonna switch, same thing but other side. So now you know what to expect. I want you to do the same thing. You're gonna stand and step. You may need to make this step just a little bit shorter, so you're on that leg for a shorter period of time, and that is okay. But I do want you to try to stand as upright as possible, and you should start to feel all those muscles in that hip start to contract to keep it stable. And we're gonna go for 3, 2, and 1. Now I want you to put one foot in front of the other. So now I'm gonna put my left leg, the more painful side, in front. You're going to put just a little bit in front of the other, so it doesn't need to be directly. We'll get there. Okay, so now I want you to stand here, and what you're going to do, keep this position, and you're gonna throw the ball up and catch it. This is asking you to react to something, but it's a little bit predictable because you know where the ball is being thrown or where the pillow is being thrown. But you're also changing your gaze. You're looking up and then coming back. Now, the higher you throw it, the harder it is going to be. So use that as your discretion, and you can just kind of throw it up in front of you. But I do want you to try to challenge yourself a little bit. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, now what I want you to do is you're gonna take this ball side to side. And if you wanna make it harder, you can do a little bit of a toss. If this is something that you can't necessarily grab, whatever object you're doing, you can go side to side. So you're just taking it side to side this way, or tossing it this way if it's something you can hang on to. Still keeping your feet just one in front of the other. 3, 2, and now you're gonna switch. Other side. One foot just slightly in front of the other. Find your balance, and now you're going to, again, toss this up in front of you. I like to kind of go side to side. I like to maybe kind of reach out a little bit. Change it up a little bit instead of just throwing, especially if it feels pretty easy just to stand here and toss it up. You can start to move around a little bit. Change your direction. Follow the ball with your eyes. That's gonna throw your balance off a little bit too. 3, 2, and 1. Now you're gonna take that ball again. You're going to either toss it side to side, just grab it side to side, or keep it in both hands and just rock it side to side. The tossing it's gonna be the hardest, and the just moving it side to side is going to be the easiest. But we're working on that side to side movement. So if this is a little bit more challenging, that's okay. 3, 2, and 1. Now we're gonna revert back to that other side, and I want you to see if you can put one foot totally in front of the other one. This is always a harder position for a lot of people, so work on just being in this position first before we add any movement. If you need to, you can move that front foot out a little bit so now you're a little wider. Find a position where you can at least stand there, because we are gonna add some movement to this to make this a little bit harder. Okay, now you're gonna take the ball and I'm gonna push it to my right side. So whatever foot is in front, doesn't matter. We're all pushing it to the right side. As you look to the left, press and turn your head. Now, if this does make you dizzy, you can just move your gaze just a little bit to the side and then come back. Or if you actually can turn your head, that's gonna make this harder. Three, 2, and 1. Now we're going to hang on to the ball, and we're going to come around, making a circle just like this. Again, this is not necessarily meant to be a shoulder exercise, so just go as far as you can. The hardest is going to be if you can come all the way around, but I just want you to imagine you're making a circle right in front of you. Now you're gonna switch and come the other way. It's gonna be easier if you just kind of keep it right out in front of you like you're stirring a pot or something, but take it out wide. 3, 2, and 1. Now you're gonna switch. So now the other foot's gonna be behind, and see if you can again put one foot all the way in front of the other one. Okay, now we're gonna go to the left and turn our head to the right. If this is your more painful side and back, this may be a little bit harder for you. If it is hard, you can move that foot just a little bit out in front, so that way you have a little bit wider base of support. Or you can just turn your gaze to just look at an object to the side of you. But you should feel your ankles working. You should feel your hips start to fatigue a little bit too. 3, 2, and 1. Now you're making that circle. Same thing, keep your feet in that same position. This one you go as slow or as fast as you can. Slower will be a little bit easier. Faster is gonna force those muscles to react a little bit faster. But balance training is all about safety. So I do wanna make sure that you feel safe doing this, especially in a harder foot position. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, now last thing, we're gonna just move to standing on one foot. So standing on one foot, obviously keeping the other foot off the ground, but you can also point your toes down so you can use it as almost a kickstand. So figure out whichever one feels better to you. We're always gonna start on the non-painful side or the less painful side. So find a position that works for you. Make sure you can stand here first. Okay, so once you can stand here for about 10 seconds, now we're gonna add in some movement. So now you're going to come side to side this way. Now this is very challenging. So if you need to rely on that back foot a little bit more, that is totally okay. You can put the toes on the ground, so that way you have a little bit more contact area in the back. 3, 2, this one also fatigues out a lot quicker, so we're gonna just switch right away. This is on the side that's a little bit more painful, so please use that back leg as much as you need to. And now you're going to do the same thing, but we're gonna come down low. Down low. And if you start and you feel okay, you can see if you can lighten up on that back foot a little bit. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, now what we're gonna do, we're gonna stay on that leg that's a little bit more painful. Relax a little bit. I like to shake it out sometimes just like this, and even just kind of swinging it forward and back. We're gonna go back to that side, get back on that kickstand or standing on one leg. Find that position. Now we are a little bit fatigued. Now what I want you to do is, again, throw it up and catch it. If you can, move around a little bit. But if it is hard for you to do that, you can use that kickstand and work your way up to this. Three, 2, and 1. Okay, so this concludes my favorite balance exercises, adding in an object that makes it just a little bit more challenging. Now, if you want to see the best results when it comes to finding hip arthritis pain relief, we have to be consistent. At least 3 days a week running through this routine, or just some variations of these exercises can be helpful. We want it to be challenging, and we want your hip muscles to feel fatigued. Fatigue is not pain. We don't want significant pain. So if you do experience significant pain, use support, use a kitchen counter, offload some of that weight to make your joint feel a little bit better. You should always leave an exercise routine feeling better than when you came in. But I want you to feel challenged, and that's important too. If you're doing things that just are super easy, we're not gonna make progress. 3 days a week at least practicing balance, and you will be rewarded. We have to be consistent, but once you're consistent, that hip is gonna feel much more supported and less painful. It's also gonna help you walk better. If you would like a video that helps with mobility and flexibility of your hip too, I also have a video on that, which I will put the link down in the description so you can head right there. All right, if you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you would share it with one of your friends who also may be dealing with hip arthritis. And if you could put a comment below that if you've tried this or if you've noticed that your balance is not great or could use some work, I'd love to hear it because you may inspire someone else that's in your exact same position. Thanks for watching.